Hello from Nana's house in Nairobi, Kenya. I've sent out orphan updates almost every year, but I've never made a video before about the kids in which I can explain more thoroughly about what we're doing here, each of the orphans, as well as how you can partner with us to see God's good plans for them unfold. First, let me say, I never planned on working with orphans. But after we came to Kenya in 2009, we began to sponsor the orphaned nephew and 3 nieces of our house girl Gladys. Then, in 2010, I began to work with 2 orphanages here in Nairobi. God was opening my eyes and changing my heart a little bit at a time. I began helping to raise money for the orphans so the kids could attend Count Me In youth camp annually, as well as get school shoes. We began sponsoring more kids, plus finding sponsors for others. I also spent a couple of years going to St. Catherine's teaching discipleship classes. We also had annual pool parties for the kids as we watched them grow up. But that became the issue. You all know how fast kids grow up. The priority had begun with raising money for school fees so they could just complete high school. However, unlike the USA, there are no jobs for teens here. And a student finishing high school has demonstrated that all they can do is sit in class for 12 years. Also, by Kenyan law, all orphans must be exited from the orphanages when they complete high school. So after completing high school, they find themselves out on the streets where many girls become prostitutes and the boys become thieves just trying to survive. Kenya assumes each student will be reunited with any living relatives. Yeah, right. Those same relatives who wouldn't feed, clothe, or care for them when they were cute and little. And now that they're grown? No, unless the orphan can get a job to support them. Understanding all of that and praying over what to do brought me to 2016. It was the day after my mother died, and God spoke 2 words to me: Nana's house. My mother was known as Nana, and going to her house was something all of us kids, grandkids, and great-grands loved to do. I had never considered living with the orphans, but when God spoke those words to me, He also gave me a vision of what He meant. Thus began our journey towards Nana's house in Nairobi, Kenya. We looked for a home big enough to get started, which God provided the second day that we looked. We had a shipping container sent over with all of Nana's household items and furniture that no one else wanted. We were also able to jump through all the Kenyan legal hoops to establish Nana's house as a trust. Within 9 months, we had our first orphans living with us here at Nana's house. We started with and still receive base funding for Nana's house annually from a family trust in the USA that was set up as the William H. and Kate F. Stockham Foundation, who were my great-grandparents. I'm not sure what year it was created, but probably almost 100 years ago. By the way, God knows what you'll need way ahead of time. That money helps cover the orphans who lack sufficient sponsorship, as well as some other needs as they arise. Well, what is Nana's house? Nana's house is a transitional home, taking orphans from dependence to independence. This is also a home for these orphans where they can experience a loving family, receive help with their futures through the life purpose discovery and life skill classes, plus coaching that we offer. We also provide job training where they earn an hourly wage for their work, from which they can pay for their own food and other personal expenses. They learn to tithe and save money. Their spiritual life is looked after as they also attend church here, participate in the cell groups, and first receive and then give discipleship. We are just renting this home, but continue to pray and believe God for permanent land and a home for kids to come that will continue after we're gone. Well, let me tell you about the 9 kids who are here now, plus another one in Nairobi and 5 upcountry.
Hello, my name is Evans.
Evans was part of St. Catherine's when I first started ministering there way back in 2010. He was so young then, and the first of these orphans that I met. After he finished high school in December of 2018, Evans came here to live. He works hard in the yard, house, and office. We've also seen Evans open up and grow so much here in every way. For one thing, he's learned to talk and smile. God sets the solitary in families. He has already graduated with a certificate in IT and begun work on his diploma. Evans is training this year to be a cell leader for his young men's student life group. Please especially pray for supernatural healing for him of sickle cell. Evans has a sponsor who provides for his lunch fees and transportation, so he only needs support for the school tuition and fees. Also, don't be worried about the cost of university tuition like I was. The highest so far has been $1,300 a year, so a little more than $100 a month. Tom has stayed at Nana's house off and on. We actually knew his mother Susan before she passed away. Tom is the eldest in his family, so tries to keep his family together. Tom is also the first to graduate from university. He works part-time upcountry, but Tom needs your prayers that he can get a job and be the first of these orphans to transition into being fully self-supportive. That's our ultimate goal for all of these young adults.
Hello, I'm John Oino.
John is Tom's younger brother. He has been one of our boys since he was in middle school, and he has lived here since January of 2018. When he first came, he was so quiet, shy, and seldom smiled. Now John is a great conversationalist, smiling and making jokes. He also takes care of the Acts Alive financial books for our church. John has also finished university and is currently completing his Certified Public Accountant course. He needs support for just a few more months to help cover his transportation, school fees, and books until he finishes at the end of 2022. John is already looking forward to being on his own, but still needs a job in order to be self-supporting once he finishes school. Also, pray for supernatural healing of his back from scoliosis. Ellie is the younger brother of both Tom and John. Ellie lives upcountry near Tom, where he is a sophomore in high school, where he also boards. Thankfully, Ellie has a sponsor who is able to cover almost everything he needs. Only 2 more years after this, then Ellie can also be here with us and continue his post-high school education. Vida is the only sister of Tom, John, and Ellie. She also lives in Western Kenya, living with a family near Tom, where she attends 2nd grade. Little Vida is the youngest orphan, having just turned 7. Vida has 2 sponsors. One pays for some of her expenses, while our Nairobi church tries to pay for everything else. She recently transferred schools to help us lower her expenses. So, that covers the Owino family. We really try to help keep families together as much as we can. The next group of orphans all came to us through Gladys.
Hi there, I'm called Mercy A.
Mercy A connected to us through Gladys after her mother died suddenly, following a fire that destroyed their family home in Canberra back at the end of 2014. We got her into St. Catherine's orphanage so she could complete high school. She had some initial resistance because she was already 18 and needed to start over in high school at square one. But she did it. Then she moved into Nana's house at the end of 2018 and has since completed her training as a pastry chef. Since there are no jobs available, we also started the Nana's House baking business, which employs her. Yes, that is a different kind of new addition to Nana's house. She's looking for a full-time job, but in the meantime, she keeps setting new monthly records for Nana's House baking business here. Mercy A is also a cell leader, as well as the team leader for the girls here at Nana's house. Mercy no longer needs financial support. However, she will need a full-time job or greater income from the baking business before she can leave the nest. So please give her your prayers.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Jessica.
Jessica is the younger sister of Mercy A, and we've supported her since she was 12. She was in St. Catherine's Orphanage for 2 years, followed by 2 years in boarding school. It was also back in 2015 that Jess gave her life to Jesus at Count Me In Camp at CMM. Once her guardian and older sister was here, we brought Jess early to Nana's house to finish her last 2 years of high school, which she did last April. She spent the rest of 2021 as a partial gap year while she worked here before starting to IT school for more education. She is also her sister's co-cell leader. She has a sponsor who pays for her school lunches and another who pays for part of her transport. But we need one or more sponsors who can take up the rest of the transport and for her school fees.
Hello, I'm Mercy J.
Mercy J has been one of our kids since 2009, plus living here with us at Nana's house since the end of 2019. She is one of Gladys's nieces. Since finishing high school, she has studied at sewing school. She was the top student at Delight School of Fashion and Design, making wonderful outfits, plus modeling in fashion shows and for fashion shoes. It has given her a whole new self-image. Mercy also loves gardening and sewing here. Many of you have already been blessed by the Nana's House Sewing we started to help support Mercy J. Yes, another new business that's part of Nana's House. Please pray for her now as she seeks to earn enough to be on her own.
Hi, I'm Kevin Kipchichir.
Kevin is Mercy J's cousin, who we've also supported since 2009. Kevin was in boarding school up country, although he would come for visits. However, when COVID-19 hit, we brought him home to stay where he could attend a local public school while living at home. He just finished high school April 1st and set the school's highest grade since it started. Now he will not only be able to attend university, but the school principal is buying him a laptop. Kevin wants to attend the same school John did and also study finance. Just a couple of months ago, Kevin was born again as he surrendered to Jesus. Kevin has a sponsor who pays for his school lunches each month, so we're saving that up for when school starts. He too has another sponsor who pays for part of his transport, but he will also need one or more sponsors to help cover the rest of the transport and school fees once he starts. Silas was a preschool orphan upcountry in the village where Gladys lives. Since his parents' death, he lived with his grandfather, who was unable to take care of him though. He now lives with Gladys, who cares for him, but doesn't have the money to provide for him financially. Silas has come so far. Always smiling, Silas just started class 6. I am thrilled to say that Silas is blessed to have a sponsor who fully supports him. Little Mercy is Silas's younger sister. She too now lives with Gladys as she attends 4th grade. Little Mercy is a very sweet and obedient little girl who appreciates so very much everything she receives. The same couple that fully supports Silas also totally support Little Mercy. Well, that covers Gladys's family and orphans that she has brought to us. The next family.
Hello, greetings. I'm called Jerry Rawlings Owino.
Jerry, like John, has also been here at Nana's house over 4 years. Jerry has finished his training as a chef and for hotel management. Jerry was blessed to have a sponsor who almost fully supported his education, transport, school lunches, exam fees, uniforms, etc. He also works hard here, preparing great meals for us, which also gives him lots of practice and an income. Jerry has been a personal delight to us as we've watched him grow spiritually and develop as a leader. He also graduated in February from Les's professional life coach training. He's also training this year to be one of our cell leaders. Besides all of that, Jerry is also leading the discussion groups and coaching the young people in the life purpose and life skill classes during this quarter of 2022. Plus, he is also the team leader for the boys at Nana's house. Jerry plans to launch out into the world, so he may not be here much longer. He too just needs employment. So send your prayers Jerry's way.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily.
Emily is Jerry's younger sister. She stayed at St. Catherine's for the last several years, but now she has finished high school, so she's been accepted here at Nana's house to join her big brother as she studies life purpose discovery and life skills. We pray for some new sponsors for Emily to help her get some technical training so she can become self-supporting in the near future after she discovers what career will fit her best.
Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan.
Jonathan is Jerry and Emily's younger brother. Yes, we're keeping it in the family. Jonathan was also at St. Catherine's when not in boarding school, but just graduated. He too is here at Nana's house while attending the classes and waiting to get more education. Jonathan got a B- on his national exam, so he too can attend university. He had a sponsor during high school, but needs another for this next step in his life. He's interested in studying nursing. I mentioned earlier that we also started helping another orphan here in Nairobi this past year. Nettie lives with her older brother and sister, but they are unable to send her to school since their parents died. Last year was a rough year for Nettie too, as she missed a lot of school due to an appendectomy and gastritis. I got Nettie enrolled at the same school that Jess and Kevin attended. However, as a good student, she caught up quickly and feels better now. In fact, Nettie also attends our church and gave her life to Jesus on Palm Sunday in the middle of the cell group. She could use a sponsor to pay her school fees and transport to school daily. As we look ahead to the future of Nana's house, we also look forward to those younger kids coming here as they grow up. So please pray about how God would lead you to get involved. Pray for Tom, Jerry, Mercy A, Silas, Little Mercy, Vida, Ellie, and Mercy J. Consider financial support for John, Evans, Kevin, Jonathan, Nettie, Jess, or Emily. Well, that's the summary of what's happening here at Nana's house and how all of the kids are being blessed and are a blessing to us and others. I know it may not seem as exciting to sponsor an 18-year-old as a cute little black baby, but these kids are going from being orphans to part of a family, going from not knowing how to do anything to learning a trade or getting a university education, going from church attendance to really knowing Jesus, going from poverty to being self-supported. In short, Nana's house has been birthed by God to totally change their lives. Well, bye for now. I gotta go. I hear someone calling, Mama, Mama, Mama.